Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade Podcast. I'm Buddy Pulley.
And I'm Seth Dolby.
And this wasn't just a race, it was Talladega. But it was also a race, and it was a good one. We were there at Talladega. We'll talk about our experience at the track and on the boulevard. We'll talk about the Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson incident and whose fault that was. The big wreck at the end, and how do we quote-unquote fix the Super Speedway package? Next on the Big Motor Small Blade Podcast. What's up, dude?
Oh, what's up? Not a whole lot.
Yeah? You look dead?
It's one of those weekends, you know?
I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we're here. We made it back from Talladega, surprisingly. We didn't lose Seth in the sea of debauchery. Yeah. He's trying to wake up. I'm, for whatever reason, fully awake.
It's shocking, actually, that you're fully awake.
Hey, man, you know, I kind of turn up the wick for this podcast thing. You should try it.
I don't know how true that is 100% of the time, but we're gonna roll with it today.
I mean, it's pretty true. Anyway, Talladega. Initial thoughts on Talladega. Hold on. I think we actually might get a good reaction out of Seth from a Talladega race.
It's shocking. This is probably the most fun I've had with a Super Speedway race in 5 years, maybe longer. Well, I say that. I had a lot of fun with this race. I thought I don't honestly, so I'm of the opinion that it being a track position game is not a bad thing for a Super Speedway race. I'm cool with these lesser runs they get now. The race would have been immensely better without stage breaks, but outside of that, I think put on probably the best show we could with what we have currently. I thought. Yeah.
You definitely hit the nail on the head as far as the stage breaks. That would help a lot of things. The track position, that is my least favorite part about it, is the fact that it's a track position game, because that's kind of been the we'll call it gimmick, or the big thing about Super Speedway racing is the fact that, you know, track position, you can move up through the pack without trouble, or at least if you have a fast enough car, you can move up through the pack, whereas you couldn't, you know, on Sunday, just because they were stuck 2x2 for much of the race, but not all of the race, and a pretty significant amount. But still, when they're 3 deep, it's tough for you to move forward. But no, I thought the race was good. I mean, obviously different perspective, us being there in the grandstands. We sat in the travel. It was fun to watch. It was exciting. It was interesting to see what made one line go better than another. And then towards the end of the race, you know, when it became go time, we saw a third line form, something we haven't seen at Talladega under this rules package. And it worked well. Like, if you got enough cars, you could make it work. I mean, we saw Ryan Preece go from 20-something all the way up to the lead. Now, you know, it takes a significant amount of cars to make that happen. And there were a lot of people saying, well, the bottom lane was saving fuel, and that's why that happened. I mean, I think we get caught up in here, like, you do this a lot. You get caught up in the fact that the reasoning as to why we had a good race, and it's just not the right reasoning, but it doesn't take away the fact that it was still a good race. Like, until that reasoning actually proves to be detrimental to a race and whether it's good or not. It was a good race. Enjoy it for what it is. I'm not saying directly you for this, but just in general. Like, I see a lot of people, well, that was the only reason they got 3 wide, and that was it. I mean, they still did it. They still produced compelling racing that I'm damn sure not everyone was on the edge of their seat for. So, I don't know.
I don't think it necessarily applies here, but that doesn't necessarily always mean it was a good race just because we had certain elements to it. Sometimes the reasoning is detrimental to it. It literally is. I don't think we had that problem today or Sunday. Now, it definitely doesn't help. Like, yeah, it was great seeing the third lane appear, but yeah, as soon as the bottom line kind of got going again, it did kind of deteriorate. Now, we did obviously have one time where or 2 times, I guess, because Ryan Preece came to the front with it and Bubba Wallace came to the front at different times. But as soon as those guys got out of the lane, it did kind of deteriorate. So, I mean, like I said, I still enjoyed this race, but I can definitely see being frustrated with that. As someone who likes super speedway racing, I can definitely understand being frustrated by this package and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the package is still a bit frustrating because it is a track position race, which doesn't produce good super speedway racing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you take it for what it was and, you watch the race and, I know we were having fun with it in the grandstands. Everyone around us was, having fun with it. And then people turn around and call it a bad race. I don't understand that. It's something that just bothers me. It was like I said, they got 3 wide and there were 3 by 3, 10 rows deep. That was like vintage super speedway racing. That was fucking awesome shit to watch happen and watch it develop. And that's part of the fun of super speedway racing is watching the lines develop and watching what lines go forward, what lines, can't, depending on what cars are in what line. I think a lot of it, if we're going to use circumstances as to why we're going to, diminish the quality of a race, the fact that the 54 was leading the middle line didn't help the middle line go forward because he wasn't as fast or as experienced. So if we would have had a different car in the front, we would have seen a different race. Could have been better, could have been worse. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I think also is people's perspective with this is definitely not the best super speedway package we've ever had, but
oh no, I'm not saying that. Yeah.
No. But people's perspective is just tainted right now because we had that ridiculous package there for the last few years. And generally speaking, super speedway racing, to make a pass, you typically had to put a few cars together at minimum 3 sometimes.
Unless you're Dale Earnhardt Jr. But yeah, you'd have to build a run to pass people anyway. Now it wasn't as gridlocked and there are definitely some problems that this package has that those did not, but it wasn't like it was the past 3 or 4 years where you could just back up a little bit, get a huge run and have a guy cleared down the back straightaway. So, and then the guy in front had no real control over that. He couldn't really position his car in front of you to block a run aerodynamically. So yes, while it's definitely not the best super speedway package we've ever had, I think it's better than what we just recently had as in terms of fairness for the guys who are running or who are trying to control the race. And also for a, just, I guess, absurdity level of it. I think we see two I think we see two polar opposites, essentially. I think we see this package, which is hard to move forward, hard to make moves, hard to get out of line and make something happen and move through a pack. And then we saw the one, this most recent one that we had from 2019 to 2021, where it was just balls to the wall. Like you needed yourself to make a pass.
Yeah.
But that package would have been fantastic. It would have produced fantastic racing if we could have kept our dick in our pants and stopped running over each other and wrecking the entire field every single time. But we couldn't do that. So it kind of diminished the product.
For sure. But before that, we literally could not do that as often.
You are missing the point completely. What I'm explaining is these are two polar opposites.
Well, yeah, they're definitely polar opposites. But in theory, in a way, here's the thing. Your shit. Okay, anyway. In a way, it made the middle of the race a lot more interesting. Because now that you have to go as hard as possible to keep this track position, we ran too wide the entire time instead of just lining up on the outside and killing time. So in a way, it's better. In that way, I think.
I guess you derailed my whole train of thought. Like you missed my entire point of what I was saying. But if we're talking about that, yes, I think, but the whole middle section of the race, that boils down to these races don't need to be 500 fucking miles.
No, they definitely don't.
They need to be like 500K. Like we need, there's no reason, like the cup race went, we had a lot of long green flag runs. And especially with a package like this, it's going to, create a lull in the action, and we're going to save fuel for, the entire race, especially when we have stage breaks. And then we have a 300-mile Xfinity race that lasts just as long as the cup race time-wise. These races, they don't need to be this long. You could have a cup race be 300 miles and it'd be just as compelling, if not more compelling. You get rid of the stage breaks. But yeah, I think if you did that, you would see guys try to go full bore more often, and it might change the type of racing you see. But when the racing doesn't ultimately matter, most of the race, then, you're going to see lackluster racing. But when it came time to go, we saw, like I said, we saw the best of what this package has to offer, at least,
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you on race lengths. You and I've been on that train for a while now, but simply taking away the stage breaks would help, even if they we can't get rid of 500 miles because the TV networks or whatever the reason might be. Getting rid of the stage breaks would at least change the way that we ran during the stages. We wouldn't have as much of this fuel. I mean, there would be fuel consumption, obviously. Like you're always going to want to, if you're
There's
not
always
the leader.
Fuel consumption, Seth. That's how engines work.
Yeah. But the guys who are not leading are always going to be trying to save fuel, because that's the only advantage to not being in the lead is you don't have to use as much fuel.
You guys caught what I said. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. The only thing I think about is at the end of the stages, we that's the only thing I look at that, like, okay, we weren't able to break off 3 wide, and make something happen at the end of the stages. But I look at that also and think, well, you're not going to try to. You're not going to waste the fuel, or whatever, to try to make the third lane work, even for a stage win if you're 15th on back, because it's just going to take too long and take too much fuel. If you didn't have to worry about that, yeah, you could probably make that line work more, and you'd be more willing to pull out and make a line work. So yes, taking away the stage cautions, which I think, as many people that are, bitching about it, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. Like, maybe not this year, but next year, I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of stage cautions on at least super speedways, because it's what a lot of people have been harping on for this race and, the past couple of super speedway races is it's a fuel mileage race, because of the stages. So I think that would fix things a lot. There's definitely stuff more to be desired from the package, but I think stage racing doesn't give it a fair shake.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this in the Daytona 500. The last stage played out really naturally and well, and we had a compelling end setting up. Yep. It was not 3 wide or whatever. The pack spread out a little bit, but that's compelling if it happens naturally.
At the very end of the race, you can get 3 wide at Daytona.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing about, if we get rid of stage breaks, so we've gotten rid of them for road courses. If we get rid of them for super speedways, there's essentially no reason to keep them anywhere else anymore.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, and we know this, but it would just exacerbate the point if we did them for super speedways and road courses and then just left them for everywhere else. It would just look really weird. So in the interest of uniformity, we should just get rid of all of them. In the interest of,
that was a long-winded way of getting to the point that I hinted at as soon as I started this conversation.
I mean, we've been saying it for like, what? How long have we? 6 years.
Yeah.
So, or I guess this is year 7 of stages. So, yeah, I mean, we've been saying a long time. It's becoming as obvious as it's ever been that it's not necessary. And it'd be just nice. We get shit done on this podcast, so I'm just going to keep beating this horse till it's decomposing in a field somewhere.
All right. Anyway. Minus the stage cautions, we only had 3 natural cautions before we got to like the last couple laps of the race.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Briscoe and fucking
Logano and Harrison Burton. Yeah. Not in that order.
Logano, that set up the green white checkered. But yeah. Chase Briscoe. I've been going back and forth on this because we were pretty hard on him in the grandstands. And I'm still hard on him. He's a fucking idiot. Dude, you clearly overshoot the pit road by like a country mile. Why are you going to spin back into pit road? Like, just like, one, you lost a lap because of that. 2, if you spin off in the grass, you get a caution and you could, do whatever, pull back down pit road, and you minimize the amount of track position you lose. But no, you go in there way too hot, and just instead of taking the ladder, you try to save the car, do whatever, lock up the rears, and you spin in front of your entire Ford brigade and then get stuck on pit road and lose a lap. Like, it's every week with this kid, dude. Like, why? Like, I don't understand, man. Like, and he gets out of the car every time. Oh, I made a mistake. Well, dude, like we said at Bristol, sorry, you can only say sorry so many times. Like, I don't know, dude. And the motherfucker still finished third. Like, I don't get it, man.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Like I know I would spin out coming to pit lane at Talladega. I can just feel it in my bones.
Oh,
But,
I mean, I do it all the time, but
yeah,
I have the wherewithal to go out in the grass and, you know,
I mean, I guess it's hard.
get me a yellow.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I have a hard time with it just because like Reddick did the same thing the lap before. I mean, he hit the wall.
Here's the problem with that argument: is Reddick tried you watch it? He tries to get out of the way. He realizes, oh shit, I'm in trouble, and tries to get out of the way. That's the whole problem I have
he
with
biffed
it.
it into the wall, though. I understand it didn't. I mean,
Yeah, but he said, you know what? I made this mistake. I'm going to put it in the wall rather than, you know, I'm going to take more of a risk of putting myself, you know, into the wall than I am putting the entire brigade of my teammates. Anyway, entire like group of teammates out with me.
Nah, fuck them.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Anyway, like, I mean, I don't know, man. Obviously, I'm hard on him because I just don't like the guy. He doesn't do many smart things out there. He, you know, he never has learned any lesson in his life. So yeah, I don't know. Harrison Burton made one of the most amazing saves I've seen in a long time.
Yep.
Sundress worthy save, but he's still a dumbass because did you see that shit he pulled at Phoenix?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Harrison, unfortunately, you're not going to get the Sundress Award because you're still a dumbass from Phoenix that spun out for no reason. Getting to the end of the race, Corey Joy spins out Joey Logano, causes a big one. And then that sets up a green-white checkered.
Are we not going to talk about the other thing Logano did?
Oh, the brilliant move that he made that we gave him shit for in the grandstand.
Oh, yeah, I'm still gonna give him shit for it.
Nah, dude. I really thought about it, and I was like, that was smart.
It was.
I mean, he about wrecked the whole fucking field. Yeah, it was a shitty move. It was a piece of. It was a fucking piece of shit move. 100%. If you don't know what we're talking about when Joey was getting lapped. And instead of going high or low, he goes directly in the middle. And he like made the entire field check up. He was like made a juke to the right and was like, oh, where am I going? And he stays in the middle. Yeah, no, big like piece of shit move for sure. But like you kind of got to give it to him. It worked.
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
If it hadn't worked, though, oh my God, there would have been a pile of guys going in trying to beat his ass.
Yeah, he would have LePaged the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been Logano at the field.
Our whole section was just like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, I was sitting there, I was like, he's not about this. He's not. Oh my God, he's doing it. This motherfucker. Yeah, it was a hold our breath moment for sure on that. I can't think of anything else that happened really throughout the before we got to the end. Anyway, yeah, big one happens or semi big one or whatever happens. Sets us up for a restart. Noah Gragson's on the front row with Ryan Blaney. Ross Chastain is fourth, and he gets in Noah Gragson, causes Gragson to wreck. Making it 3 wide. Seth, what's your take on this? We've had a couple sleeps on it. What do you think about this whole deal? Because we were pretty hard on Ross in the grandstands.
So I've thought about it a lot. And
what the fuck was that?
What?
I just something in my head.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? You don't think I think about things?
No. Well, no, I don't think you think about things. There's been several instances of that in this show. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I still kind of think Ross was wrong. And I feel like I'm in the vast minority of people that think that. Because here's the thing is, yes, everyone brings up that everyone's shoving. Well, guess what? That's kind of the only way to really get in position. Like Ross was not going to win the race right there if he gets clear of the 42 just from getting a push from the 5. Like that's not going to happen. He wasn't
even, the 5 wasn't even on him either.
Yeah, no. And I heard that a lot. Like, oh, the 5 shoved him up. I'm like,
the 5 wasn't on him. You see the 5 peek out when
he didn't even peek out. He stayed with the 42. Like that was clearly the plan. Like not the plan. Like they didn't talk about it, but like that's the move. Like the 42, 1, 5 all stay together and try and get a run down the back straightaway and get in position so they could settle it amongst themselves. And I can understand why Ross wants to get in front of him, but that's not the move. Like you're setting yourself up to lose a lot of momentum or just not gain it because they hadn't gotten there yet. It wasn't a smart move. I don't think. I think it was just the wrong move, and it's just another Ross Chastain move.
Yeah. He's continuing to prove why he hasn't won a race in a year. And let me let that sink in for everyone, because I feel like people haven't realized that it has been a year since Ross Chastain won a Cup Series race. And the 2 he won, he wrecked the dog fuck out of AJ Allmendinger at Coda. And then the 7 C's in front of him parted at Talladega last year for him to win the race. He did nothing skill-wise to win Talladega last year. This is just another example for me of Ross Chastain thinking 10 feet ahead instead of 10 steps ahead. That almost doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. Because we hear we dread to hear the conversations of manufacturer alliance at Daytona and Talladega. You had at least three Chevys. I don't know who was behind Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you had 3 Chevys lined up, ready to go. Noah had been up there most of the race. He's a proven Super Speedway racer. He's won multiple races on Super Speedways at Talladega and Daytona. I can understand maybe you don't want to be there with a rookie, be up there with a rookie. But I mean, dude, he's the line you got to push. Ross goes in the car and he just shoves and shoves and shoves the 42. And it's not like he's shoving them and Noah gets loose. Ross is shoving him and going left and right, trying to shove him off of his front nose. And it's like, that's just like, dude, I can understand. Maybe you don't want a rookie. Maybe you want to be the leader of that line. It's probably the best move in the long run. But that wasn't the time to do it. And it just wasn't the smartest way to go about it. I mean, you try to wreck the guy in front of the whole fucking field, my guy. Like people were saying, oh, he just tried to go up the middle. Noah left the hole. Yeah, Noah left the hole. I mean, you can't leave that door open. Noah definitely left maybe half a car width that he shouldn't have left there. But Ross still busted his way up the middle. And it wasn't like, I don't know, like it wasn't 100% Ross's fault, but it definitely wasn't not his fault. Like, I mean, you look at the onboard, he's doing what he can to move the 42 out of the way. It's just not a bright move, at that moment in the race. He should have pushed the 42 out. They had fast cars. They could have, made that happen. But like I said, he doesn't think ahead. He thinks in the moment. And then look what happens. He caused the 42 to wreck. We went to another overtime. He couldn't make it on fuel, and he ends up finishing, fucking 17th or something. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. People like to say he just doesn't give a fuck. You kind of got to respect it. No, there's to a point. He doesn't give a fuck. And a lot of times, like, gets him in a bad spot. Like, a lot of times fucks him over. Pocono last year. I mean, prime example. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's the same shit. People didn't fault him for Atlanta. He did the exact same thing, basically, except he was on Gregson this time and he used the air to spin Harvick. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I sound like an old man yelling at the fucking trees right now, but it just, the man knows what he's doing, but he doesn't know what he's going to do after it.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I feel like a lot of these things are not Ross not giving a fuck. I think he's not smart enough to know it's not the right move.
I think he's smart enough to think, okay, I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's well aware that he knows what he's doing.
If he knew what he was doing, he would have made that move on the back straight away.
But he doesn't. Well, no. What I'm saying is he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't think about what the implications are after he does that one thing. Like, I mean, and in that way, yes, he's stupid.
Yeah, but that sounds pretty stupid to me. Yeah. So
I'm hard pressed to say a guy that pulled off the Hail Melon, one of the most celebrated moves in NASCAR history, and say he doesn't know what he's doing. I think he's pretty aware of what he's doing. I just don't think he knows what he's going to do after he does whatever he's doing in that moment.
I don't think Ross never knows what he's doing. I just think he gets too much credit for knowing what he's doing too often. Like, yeah, the Hail Melon was the smartest thing I've ever seen, but he does shit like Sunday constantly. Like, yes, the idea in theory is right, but the application is wrong 9 times out of 10.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't think we're saying that different of a statement. I think we're just putting it differently. That's back what I was trying to say, though, or like back what I was saying is if they stay in line, they could, in theory, get clear or somewhat clear entering turn 3. That's a big if, but that gives you a much better shot to win the race than if you end up in a wreck in turn 2 on the first overtime. So yeah, just not smart application at all.
Yeah. I don't know. It took a hard hit and it set up, 2 more really fucking hard hits. I mean, Ryan Preece, the in-car footage of him T-boning Kyle Larson is one of the, I've seen in quite some time. And then Kyle Larson's interior was fucking destroyed. Yeah. I mean, the roll bars is all sorts of twisted sister. Like, the whole door of the car, like there's a big old hole in it. Like,
I mean, the welds broke. The welds broke.
I mean, of course you're going to point out the welds. But, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of reinforcements on the driver's side, but you never know. An impact like that, we could have been 180 degrees away from killing Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know what to do here. It was kind of a, weird incident to begin with. But NASCAR, obviously they took the 41 and the 5 back to the R&D center, and I'm sure they'll learn something and improve it for, the next Super Speedway race. God damn it. Fuck. Sorry. Happy decided he wanted to bite the shit out of my foot.
Well, it's one of those things you and I were talking about, I think, on the way home. That's like the first hit like that I think we've really had in the next gen car, at least at that speed. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of another one I can't.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because everyone's talking about now how the driver's side is much more reinforced than the passenger side. And I mean, I guess I understand why that would be the case, but it seems like they went a little too far the other way.
I mean, I don't think they took out reinforcements of the other side.
Well, that's not what I meant. I just mean more didn't think they needed as much, maybe. I don't know what the deal is there, because, I mean, that seems like a major miscalculation, in theory. It could have just been a bad part, and it could have been, which is also not acceptable, but...
Well, I think it is. I think a lot of it comes down to we haven't had that type of impact before, and so you didn't really know what was going to happen because the old car, the front end of Ryan Preece's car gives a whole hell of a lot more than it did. But it doesn't, and so the brunt of the impact, it's probably the same and just as safe and just as structurally sound passenger side of a race car as we've had in the past 20 years in the sport. But when it's hit by, a brick instead of a fucking couch cushion, yeah, it's gonna do a lot more damage. So that's kind of how I look at it, and I'm sure NASCAR is gonna look at that and they're gonna beef it back up. I think we need to hopefully they go look at Ryan Preece's front clip and, we do a little bit more work in that area as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear we're still a long ways off from where we need to be with this car. And because it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I understand the idea of, hey, we're going to make these things a little stronger, then they won't have to replace them as often. Well, even if you have a hit half that hard, you're not going to really, like, even if it doesn't give as much, you're not going to be able to use that part again. So
I don't think that's true at all.
Well, I mean, you're limited so much on how much you could repair it. Like,
I mean, yeah, the body, but I think you can, I think chassis, you can, I think as long as the chassis doesn't sustain damage or at least too much damage. I mean, Reddick, that was really cosmetic what he had, and he took it was a pretty decent lick. So pretty sure, they'll use that car again with no problem.
Probably. I'd love to talk to a team owner or something, or not a team owner, just someone in the shop, to see what
this comes down to. Yeah, this comes down to the fan versus working in the sport. It's all speculative for us. There's people way smarter than us that can actually tell you the facts. We just kind of go by what we obviously see on TV and at the track, and can only speculate based on previous events. But yeah. And then obviously that wreck sets up the final green, white checkered. And it is who was it? It was Blaney and Kyle Busch on the front row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Bubba Wallace, or what is it? Ty Gibbs runs out of gas, kind of takes the energy out of the bottom lane on the restart. Busch gets clear, goes to the bottom. Bubba goes to the top. Bubba gets the lead at the white flag, and all hell breaks loose. Ryan Blaney gets a run on Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace makes really. I keep hearing 3 swipes, and it was really like 1.5 blocks on Blaney. But it was still. You get one shot. You don't get more than that. That is it. And Bubba got turned and obviously turned across, much of the rest of the field and caused a big old wreck that caused a caution. Bubba took full blame for it. At the end, Blaney was pretty upset about it. Seth, what do you kind of think about the last lap deal?
I just don't understand why Bubba felt like he needed to go back to the outside to block Blaney, because Blaney didn't really have help. He was going to lose a lot of momentum there from just going to the outside.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is we talk all the time, you let a guy to your right rear, it's a death sentence. I don't think that's as true as it used to be with the new car, because the side drafting doesn't work as well. But still, though, I think if Blaney Blaney breaks the plane of Bubba's back bumper, I think it's just too risky to let that happen, because I don't know. That's tough, because
But even
I could see where Bubba's at. Like, he doesn't want to even give that, in that moment, he doesn't want to give Blaney anything. And you can't really in the super speedway racing, because, I hear both of us listening to Actions Detrimental. Denny Hamlin says, you don't have to make the block. You don't have to make the block. There's only one block that matters, and that's, coming to the start finish line. But you don't know when they're going to wreck. Simple. And it doesn't matter if you make the right move to beat them, to put yourself in position for the start finish line. You might not get back to the start finish line. So, I mean, ultimately you got to be the lead car. You got to maximize your distance out front on the last lap, because it could end at any second. So that's kind of where I understand him making the aggressive block. Obviously it was the wrong move, and I think he'll do something different in the future. But
I mean, that's definitely true about need to stay out front, obviously. But it also goes back to, you can't be the wreck that causes the caution, because then that completely defeats the purpose too. And while it may have been potentially detrimental for potentially detrimental for Bubba to let Blaney get to his right rear, if he wraps the yellow line, he's got Kyle Busch right behind him, and Kyle was going to push him. And Blaney had a bigger gap to the back. So if you look at it from that perspective, Bubba's probably going to be... I don't know what
history lesson you've been listening to that makes you think Kyle Busch is just going to push Bubba Wallace to the win.
I don't think he's going to push him to the win. I think he's going to push him. He's not going to be able to go he's not going to go 3 wide to the outside to try and go around Blaney.
Oh no, dude. Bubba had a lot of momentum broken. I think Busch has a legit opportunity of taking him 3 wide. If Bubba tries to come down the block, I think Kyle Busch had a run. I mean, Kyle clearly had a run. He was, I think if Bubba goes down and blocks Kyle Ross Chastain's him out of the way, because I think he gets to his bumper. And I think at least from what I saw, if Bubba tried to go down and block Kyle Busch instead of blocking Blaney. Now, let's make it clear. My defense of Bubba that I just gave, that is all the way up until he tries to make a second block. Then that's out the window. You fucked up from there. Like that was
that's the block I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter what you're talking about. Anyway, whatever. If he goes down and blocks Kyle Busch, then like I said, I think Kyle either gets into the back of him and Bubba wrecks off the front end of Kyle Busch, or Kyle makes it 3 wide. I think Kyle's just as smart as anyone else. He knows, if he's got an opportunity and a run, he's got to try to take it to.
I understand that.
Get the lead.
I understand that, but I think my view on it is still the same. If I'm the driver, I can live with getting booted out of the way by the guy behind me than making a second block and wrecking myself. I would rather that be the case, because ultimately the goal is still, you have to make it back around to the start finish line. And if you wreck yourself in turn 2, there's a 0% chance of you making that happen. Whether or not someone wrecks behind you, you have taken yourself out of contention to win the race.
Yes, thank you for reiterating my point.
No, that wasn't your point at all.
No, my point. No, you didn't listen to what I said. I said
you're not speaking.
When I defended Bubba Wallace, it was all the way up until he made the second block. He makes the second block, then you're fucked. Like okay. I can't help you. I can't defend that.
And I'm saying the first block. Because I've always been talking about the second block.
Never mind. Anyway. All right.
I said that, and you go on this long thing about that thing like it wasn't what I said.
You go back and listen to this and you'll hear. You guys know.
No, they don't.
Anyway, that sets up obviously Kyle Busch winning the race. First time in 15 years that he's won a plate race. I didn't quite realize that.
I mean, it's felt like that long.
Really? I don't know, man. He's won. I guess it's been a while since he won a duel or anything like that. I just didn't think about the fact that the last time he won a plate race was 2008. Because it's like everybody's like, Kyle's such a bad player. So I feel like I remember Kyle's up there every now and then. Obviously, damn near won every Daytona 500 past 10 years. I don't know. For some reason, it was a jarring stat to me.
I know he's definitely up there, but I never, like, when I'm thinking of who might win Daytona or Talladega, I'm never thinking Kyle Busch. The past couple of years, I've wanted to pick him for the 500 because I want it to happen, but I don't think it's actually going to happen because he just has no luck at these races. He runs well and then just gets wrecked every time, it seems. So, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's 2 wins for him this year for RCR. I feel like some people have been shocked by this. I'm not. I mean, he's one of the best drivers in the sport, and he's in a car that could have won 10 races last year. I mean, I'm not shocked at all that he's won twice. Like,
yeah, no, definitely. I think it's just kind of jarring to, like, they came out so strong and then we're kind of all over the place there for a little while and then come to Talladega and win. I think that's just kind of the only part of it that's kind of harder to wrap your head around, I guess. Not really. Like, if you paid attention to that team last year, it's not surprising that they're kind of all over the place, but
yeah. I mean, you fast cars, and you put yourself in position, you're gonna end up in victory lane, whether it's on speed, skill, or luck. And Kyle ended up there today, much to the chagrin of the crowd.
Talladega hates Kyle Busch more than anybody else.
Hates Kyle Busch, and it's hilarious. Kyle Busch is a douchebag guy. Love to seen him after the race. I bet he was having a wonderful. Actually, no, he probably was having a wonderful time with the end of this race. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things, man. It's you can't help but laugh at the fuck Kyle Busch chants. I mean, it went all night long. Like, we stayed in Geico free camping, and it was all night long. Fuck Kyle Busch. Fuck. I'm like, holy shit. You guys are still at it.
Well,
what did this man do to you? Did he kick your puppy? Did he key your car? Like, what did he do to you?
It wasn't even just Sunday night though. It was all weekend, like before that too.
Yeah. But it was really ramped up.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I don't know. You wrecked Dale Jr. once, and this is what you get for the rest of your life.
I can't say that I'm shocked that's the case.
Yeah. Congrats to McLaren on their first Cup Series win. I want to see the stat on that. Like, F1 team, IndyCar team, and Cup team to win. I feel like that's a minimal number. I feel like there's not too many people that could say that. I don't know that anybody can, and McLaren can. So, shout out to them.
We need a betting line on how much Dalton Good's going to spend on his McLaren custom grill. I would like.
Dude, Dalton Good, he's gonna have the car be the hood of the grill, and it's gonna be a race version of Kyle Busch's Talladega win, and he's gonna marinate his fucking steaks in Rowdy Energy, but he's gonna have like a pull tap on the top of it that just dispenses Rowdy Energy, and and Dale Jr. is gonna fucking cry because it's not A1 sauce or whatever. Like, it's gonna be probably the most ridiculous fucking thing you could ever imagine, and I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I can't. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Oh, yeah. Other than the race, Talladega. We obviously the thing to do in Talladega is to go boulevard. We also went to dirt track. Did a lot of cool stuff. Hung out with Ricky Stenhouse quite a bit. Seth got to ask him a bunch of nerdy sprint car questions.
Yeah, I needed to know all about the 360 sprint and what was different, and now I know. It's great. There's not much different about it than the 410.
Well, educate us, Seth.
Okay, so a 360 sprint. Well, we'll say a 410 sprint is about 900 horsepower, and the engine is an aluminum block. And the 360 sprint is about 750 horsepower, and it's a steel block. Outside of that, according to Ricky, they are the same, all in all. And I now know what the little red wire is. It hangs off the right rear tire. It's a bleeder, so when the tire pressure gets too high, it starts bleeding off tire pressure, which I think is pretty cool.
That's interesting. I didn't. When you told me bleeder, I didn't think about. I guess I was distracted by something because I didn't think about the fact that it was like, oh, it's like during the race it bleeds off air pressure. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Those some big ass fucking tires.
Oh yeah.
That's Seth got all these technical things out of it. I just looked at the right rear and I was like, God damn, that thing's huge. That's a big bitch.
Yeah, that is a big bitch. I just couldn't believe, like, so Ricky only went out or not only, but he had just gone out for his heat or whatever, and then come back, and I was all up on that. That thing is hot as fuck. It only ran for like 15 or 20 laps, and already gotten that hot. Is crazy.
Well, you gotta think about it. It's a rather confined vehicle, full of metal. I feel like it's the heat is going to transfer throughout pretty quickly. I
just couldn't believe
Buddy Pulley, temperaturologist.
Yeah, we should make a shirt that says that. But the
only
interior,
if I get to spell it.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interior of the car is it looks like a go-kart with a temp gauge. That's pretty much what it looks like. Like, it's kind of insane that there's just nothing in there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, what the fuck are you going to look at?
I mean, no.
What the fuck do you need in there?
Not much, I guess. It's just interesting. Like, I mean, the pedals
You're bouncing around getting your fucking guts rearranged on dirt while going 550,000 miles an hour. Like, I don't think you're really going to be able to look at a gauge. So yeah.
I mean, it's definitely true. It's just the like, even the pedals are just like those go-kart pedals, essentially, is how they got them rigged up. It's fascinating shit.
Yeah. So you're telling me to produce good racing in a car that is impressive to a racing fan, you don't have to overcomplicate the fuck out of it.
Absolutely not. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, NASCAR's taught me nothing.
I thought you were going to fucking make a joke about Formula One there. That's what I thought was happening.
Also, Formula One. That is the extreme to it.
I mean, it's certainly, I don't mind a technical race car.
No, I don't either. But there's definitely a lot of technology in racing that is just like, is just over the top, and
But I mean, I think
you have all this technology, and then the racing sucks, and it's like, why do you have it?
I mean, it's kind of the fun though, because like you can get so many different variances with your racing. You can have your uber technical shit where you can just dive in, learn about it for hours upon hours. And then you have your grassroots shit where I can just ask Ricky and I know all about it in like 5 minutes or however long that was. So it's great to have both, to be completely honest.
You
I'm
took
here
this
for it.
joke I just made way too seriously.
I mean, that's what I did. That's what I tend to do.
That's your shit.
That's my shtick.
Yeah. And then that was Friday night. Saturday night, we went to the Boulevard. One more thing about Friday night. When Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tells you not to stand at a certain spot on a dirt track, you should probably listen or you're going to get a fucking rock pelted into your asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Saturday night, we went down to the Boulevard. Everyone kept their clothes on. It was great. It was a wholesome day. We saw all of zero, no alcohol. I had some Bud Zeros. That's all I had. And we saw the Mario and all the Super Mario characters. That was interesting. We saw Peach. Impressive jawline on Peach. I'll tell you what.
Did Peach have a beard? I can't remember.
I think Peach had a beard. And then we had, Toad was down there. Toad had mushrooms. That was good. He confirmed that for us. He was and is, and you are what you eat, a mushroom. Yeah, and then we hung out with Noah's Peter Strada. That was a good time. We just took a stroll down the Boulevard. We were completely sober, 100%. For that, we ran into NASCAR Chasm. Got to hang out with him. He proclaimed that this year was the year of the butthole. Considering we didn't see any butthole this year. Me and Manny, we saw butthole last year. No butthole this year.
Yeah, I think he got his years confused. That was last year.
I think he did. I think or maybe he was being sarcastic. I don't know.
Could you say he was?
He confirmed it the next day when we met him at the tweet up.
That he's being sarcastic, or that it was the year of the butthole?
That was the year of the butthole.
Okay. So that means he saw some butthole.
Hey, he probably did. He was probably, yeah.
Maybe he was the one showing butthole.
God. I'd look. Anyway, Bob, we did not see Bob in his biggie bag. Seth chickened out on Sunday. We saw Bob, and he didn't ask Bob if the biggie bag had lights. I was disappointed about that.
Well, he said, so, yeah, I didn't ask the question, but he was like, all right, we got to get moving. We got to be on TV in like 45 minutes. I said, yeah, you got to check the lights on the biggie bag, right?
Yeah, you didn't say it loud enough. He didn't hear you.
Yeah, you're right, but I still said it. It counts.
No, it doesn't. It only counts if a tree falls in the woods and doesn't make a sound. Yes, but it doesn't fucking matter because no one was around to hear it. But no, it was a good wholesome night on the Boulevard. I think there was even some Bible study. Well, no, that was Sunday. Across the street from the track. The guys, they had the street preachers out there and they tried to call us out for buying driver merch. That was literally an argument they had. And I wish I thought about it in the moment. I wanted to turn around and be like, God, I don't see Jesus out here selling merch. Like, I mean, I guess there's some Ty Gibbs merch out there, but like, you ain't selling
it. Never mind. We're not gonna go too far into that one.
I mean, I'll go as far as you want on that one. Anyway, no, I mean the Boulevard's always a fun time. Geico free camping's fucking ridiculous. There was a fire, like an out of control fire, not a in control fire. And we saw a mound of beer cans. Nothing short of 750 cans of alcohol consumed. And yeah, there were it was really nice to see that they were They were out there doing mammograms. Lots of mammograms being done at Talladega. Lots of mammograms being done at Talladega, and we appreciate the doctors in Talladega and Geico Free Camping
giving out free mammograms.
Free mammograms. Talladega is hell of a spot. Yeah.
Medical capital of the world in a way, you know.
Yeah. Medical anomaly of the world in the world. In a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Talladega is a fun time. I'm just happy that we've made Seth enjoy a super speedway race. That's all I care about.
I was struggling there by about mid-Saturday with the whole mood thing. There's just too many people at Talladega for my liking. But
and also the fucking ARCA race is one ARCA should never be at Daytona or Talladega. I'm a firm believer of that. They should never be at Daytona and Talladega. Xfinity, that shit. We talk about that for 5 minutes, like
sure.
I mean, dude, like
shit made
Blaine
the ARCA
Perkins
race.
is okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
That shit made the ARCA race look bearable. I'm sorry.
I don't know about all that. I don't know. ARCA race is pretty unbearable. No, I mean, the Xfinity race, I mean, just it was first stage was fantastic. And then next thing you know, we got Blaine Perkins 20 feet in the air on the backstretch, his tires getting launched off the nose of Casgrala, and then Daniel Hemrick pulls one of the worst blocks I've ever seen in my life, and Tony Stewart's his ass. Everybody was okay, and Jeff Burton won the dog fuck out of that race. So like that was a pretty good synopsis of the Xfinity race. That lasted like 4 hours.
Yeah. That took I hated that race. Fucking hated that race. It
was pretty bad fucking race. It was pretty bad. But Sunday was good. It made up for it. Despite what the reasoning for why it happened, we had fun with Sunday. I had a great time. I thought it was fucking fantastic. And I like race cars going in circles, going fast, and that's what we saw. And so I was a happy camper. Yeah. That's it. Picks. I picked Ryan Blaney. He finished second.
Picked Herps. He did not.
He did not. No. I will credit. I give you credit, man. That was a good pick. Not a good enough pick, but it was a good pick.
Yeah.
Let me update you on where the picks are at as soon as I find the app or there we go. 413. Have I updated it since Martinsville? No, I haven't. So I have 15 and you have 9. I've won 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you have.
Nice. Fuck yeah. All right. Where are we going? Dover?
Yeah.
Fucking Jimmy Johnson. No.
Wrong decade.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't even know, man. I'm trying to think who I picked, we'll go with Dover. You know what? We'll go with no. You have someone in mind?
I do. I was gonna go with William Byron.
William Byron. Yeah, I was thinking a Hendrick guy, but I haven't picked a Hendrick guy. Or I've picked all the Hendrick. Wait, no, I haven't. I haven't picked Chase Elliott, have I? I don't think I picked Chase. I don't think I want to pick Chase Elliott. Go to the next guy. Give me a minute. Martin Truex Jr.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, cool. Yeah. Sundress and dumbass.
I went with Todd Gilliland again. Just he's been putting good runs together, and it's cool to see. So I went with Todd.
Sundress Todd Gillen. My sundress is gonna be there's so many. I think the patrons of the Boulevard and of Geico Free Camping all deserve it. I think the drivers, they didn't do anything egregiously stupid at Super Speedway. But I think I'm going to give it to the sheriff at Talladega when we were crossing the street and having to listen to the unbearable street preachers. And the cop said, I'm going to hold y'all here because if I got to listen to it, so do you. And you know what? I can respect that. So I'm going to give it to that guy.
Fair. That's fair.
And who's your dumbass, Seth?
A dumbass, even though it worked, is Joey Logano. That was the shittiest thing I've seen in a long time.
All right. Well, I'm about to top you. All right. Dumbass award. It's going to NASCAR. Why?
All right, Seth.
Well, why? Because however many weeks ago we penalized and they crucified what the fuck's his name? Josh Williams. They penalized him because a piece of his car fell off, caused the caution, and NASCAR said, that's it, you're parked, you're done. And Josh Williams obviously parked his car on the front stretch and, makes a big hoopla and, they suspend him. Well, here this weekend at Talladega, Austin Hill pulling off pit road, a piece of his car falls off after he gets in that wreck, and he's dog tracking the sumbitch. Like, his thing is not making – one, no way he met minimum.